Your daughters don't deserve these dolls, mine do. Amanda's voice dripped with disdain as she clutched my mother's antique doll collection to her chest. I stood in the doorway of my climate-controlled storage unit, trying to process the scene before me. My sister-in-law had somehow gained access and was now claiming my daughter's inheritance as her own. My name is Olivia Parker, and at 35, I never imagined I'd be facing such a betrayal. The antique doll collection had been in my family for generations, carefully preserved and passed down from mother to daughter. My mom had spent years teaching me about each unique piece, its history and proper care, before she passed away last year. Amanda, those dolls are meant for my daughters. Mom specifically left them in her will for Emma and Sophie, I said, keeping my voice steady despite the anger building inside me. My twin girls, now 8, had been looking forward to receiving these precious heirlooms on their upcoming birthday, just as I had at their age. Amanda sneered, adjusting her designer handbag while balancing the box of priceless dolls. Please, your girls don't even appreciate fine things. They're always running around in the dirt, playing sports. My precious Lily and Rose know the value of beautiful collectibles. They deserve these more. I watched as she began cataloguing the dolls with her phone camera, probably already planning how to display them in her showcase home. What she didn't know was that I had been expecting something like this ever since she started asking suspicious questions about the collection's storage location. You do realize this is theft, right? I asked calmly, pulling out my home phone. I have the storage unit's security footage, and those dolls are legally documented as my daughter's inheritance. Amanda's perfectly made-up face twisted into a smirk. Oh, save your threats. James will never let you cause trouble over this. He knows how much my girls love antique dolls. Besides, she added, a triumphant gleam in her eye, I already have his approval. James, my husband's brother, had always given in to Amanda's demands, but this time she had gone too far. What she didn't know was that I had taken precautions months ago after overhearing her boasting at a family dinner about how she'd acquired her cousin's vintage jewelry collection. Keep them, I said, surprising both of us with my calm demeanor. If you think your girls deserve them more, then take them. Amanda's expression flickered between suspicion and victory. She hadn't expected me to give in so easily. Well, good. Finally, you're being reasonable. These dolls will be much better appreciated in my home. As she strutted past me with her stolen treasure, I couldn't help but smile slightly. She had no idea what she'd just taken, or what was about to unfold. That evening, as I tucked my daughters into bed, Emma asked about the dolls. Mom, when can we see great-grandma's special dollies? I smoothed her hair back, sharing a knowing look with Sophie. Soon, sweetheart. Very soon. Remember what I taught you about patience? The girls nodded, repeating the lesson they had learned from their grandmother. Good things come to those who wait. Later that night, I called my mother's best friend, Margaret, who had been like an aunt to me growing up. She had helped me prepare for this very scenario. Amanda took them, Margaret asked, though she didn't sound surprised. Just like you predicted. Did she notice anything unusual about them? I smiled, settling into my favorite armchair. Not yet, but she will. 6 months ago, when Amanda started showing too much interest in a collection, Margaret and I had taken precautions. As a retired museum curator specializing in antique dolls, Margaret had connections that proved invaluable. The replicas should hold up to basic scrutiny, Margaret assured me. But the moment she tries to have them appraised or authenticated. That's exactly what I'm counting on, I replied. Knowing Amanda, she won't be able to resist showing them off to her collector friends. The real dolls, all 23 of them, were safely stored in a secure vault at Margaret's museum, each one properly documented and insured. The replicas Amanda had stolen, while beautifully crafted, were exactly that, replicas. High-quality ones, with subtle markers that any serious collector would recognize immediately. My phone buzzed with a text from Amanda. Just finished arranging the dolls in my special display case. You should see how beautiful they look in a proper home. My girls are thrilled. I didn't respond. Instead, I opened my email and confirmed my appointment with Mr. Davidson, a prominent antique doll collector who frequently collaborated with Margaret. He had agreed to visit Amanda's weekly coffee gathering, where she loved showing off her latest acquisitions to her socialite friends. As I prepared for bed, I thought about my mother and how she had always emphasized the importance of protecting our family's legacy. Sometimes, she had told me, the best way to protect something precious is to let others reveal their true colors. Tomorrow, Amanda would host her weekly coffee morning, proudly displaying her newly acquired antique doll collection. Mr. Davidson would be there, ready to admire her latest treasures. And that's when the real show would begin. I slept peacefully that night, knowing that sometimes justice comes not from confrontation, but from giving people just enough rope to hang themselves. Amanda's weekly coffee gathering was in full swing when Mr. Davidson arrived. Through the bay window of her Mediterranean-style home, I could see her holding court among her socialite friends, gesturing animatedly toward the display case containing her antique dolls. I waited in my car across the street, watching as Mr. Davidson, distinguished in his tweed jacket, made his way to her front door. Margaret had assured me he was the perfect person for this. Not only was he one of the most respected doll collectors in the country, but he also had a particular distaste for frauds and thieves. My phone buzzed with a text from James, my brother-in-law. Amanda says you're spreading lies about the dolls. Those were gifted to her. Stop causing drama. I smiled, typing back a simple response. Just wait. Through the window, I saw Amanda welcoming Mr. Davidson with exaggerated enthusiasm. She'd been beside herself when her friend Patricia mentioned knowing a prominent collector who'd love to see her family heirlooms. I stepped out of my car and made my way to the house, timing my arrival perfectly. Amanda was just leading Mr. Davidson to the display case when I rang the doorbell. Her housekeeper let me in, looking confused at my unexpected appearance. Olivia. Amanda's voice hit a pitch that could shatter glass. What are you doing here? I heard you were showing Mom's doll collection, I said pleasantly. I thought I might share some of their history. Mr. Davidson turned to me with interest. Ah, so these dolls belong to your mother. Actually, I began, but Amanda cut me off. They're mine now, she said quickly. A family gift. Look at this one, Mr. Davidson. It's a rare German piece from the 1860s. I watched as Mr. Davidson adjusted his glasses, carefully examining the doll Amanda was practically shoving in his face. His expression remained neutral, but I caught the slight tightening around his eyes. Interesting, he murmured. May I? He held out his hands, and Amanda proudly handed him the doll. The room fell silent as he examined it, turning it gently in his experienced hands. Amanda's friends watched eagerly, waiting for his validation of their hostess's prestigious collection. Mrs. Bennet, he said finally, using Amanda's married name, where did you say you acquired these dolls? They're family heirlooms, she repeated, shooting me a warning glare, passed down through generations. I see, he placed the doll back in its stand with careful precision. And you've had them authenticated, of course. Amanda's smile faltered slightly. Well, no, but their provenance is clear. Just look at the craftsmanship. Yes, let's talk about that craftsmanship. Mr. Davidson turned to address the room. Ladies, what we have here is actually quite remarkable, but perhaps not in a way you might think. I could see the color beginning to drain from Amanda's face. These dolls, he continued, are exceptional replicas. The attention to detail is impressive, but they're not originals. In fact, he picked up another doll. I recognized the artist's work. These were created by Victoria Mason, one of the finest reproduction artists in the field. The room erupted in whispers. Amanda's friends exchanged glances, some hiding smirks behind their coffee cups. That's impossible, Amanda sputtered. These are authentic antiques. Olivia's mother collected them. Actually, I spoke up, pulling out my phone. Would you like to see the real collection? I pulled up the photos Margaret had sent me that morning, the genuine dolls, safely displayed in the museum's preservation room. These are my mother's dolls, documented and authenticated. What you have, Amanda, are the replicas I had made after you started asking too many questions about their storage location. Amanda's face went from white to red in seconds. You tricked me. No, Amanda, you tried to steal from my daughters, and you got exactly what you deserved. I turned to Mr. Davidson. Thank you for coming. Margaret sends her regards. Margaret Reynolds? Amanda's friend Patricia gasped. The museum curator? You know her. She was my mother's best friend, I replied. She helped me protect our family's legacy from theft. The whispers grew louder. Amanda stood frozen, her perfect world crumbling around her as her friends began gathering their purses and making excuses to leave early. James arrived just as the last guests were hurrying out. "What's going on? Amanda, why is everyone leaving?" "Your wife just got caught trying to steal valuable antiques," Mr. Davidson informed him calmly. "And not very successfully, I might add." I watched as James looked between his humiliated wife and the display case of replica dolls, realization slowly dawning on his face. "Amanda, you said Olivia gave these to you." "She's lying," Amanda shrieked. "She set me up. She wanted to humiliate me." "No," I said quietly. "You did that all on your own. I just made sure you couldn't steal from my daughters." As I left Amanda's house that afternoon, I could hear her shrill voice still trying to explain, to justify, to shift blame. But it was too late. Her reputation among her social circle was shattered, and the truth about her attempt to steal family heirlooms was already spreading through text messages and phone calls. My phone buzzed one more time, a message from Margaret. "The real dolls are ready for your girls whenever you want to pick them up. Your mother would be proud." I smiled, thinking of Emma and Sophie's upcoming birthday. They would finally receive their inheritance just as planned, while Amanda was left with nothing but expensive replicas and a ruined reputation. Sometimes the best revenge isn't about confrontation. It's about letting someone's own actions be their undoing. 1 month after the coffee gathering incident, I stood in Margaret's museum office, watching as she carefully unwrapped the real antique dolls. Each one emerged from its protective covering like a butterfly from a cocoon, their authentic beauty even more striking after everything that had happened. "The girls are going to love these," Margaret said, gently placing the last doll in the special display case she had made for them. "Sarah would be so happy to know her granddaughters will continue the tradition." My mother's presence felt strong in that moment, and I could almost hear her laugh. The one she saved for moments when justice worked itself out perfectly. The fallout from Amanda's humiliation had been spectacular. Her social circle had crumbled, with former friends now whispering about what else she might have acquired from family members. 3 of her coffee morning regulars had quietly checked their own collections, finding several pieces mysteriously similar to items that had gone missing from their homes over the years. My phone buzzed, a text from James. "Can we talk?" About the dolls and everything else. I'd been avoiding family gatherings since the incident, giving everyone time to process what had happened. But maybe it was time to clear the air. "Go," Margaret encouraged, reading my expression. "I'll have everything ready for the girls' birthday tomorrow." I met James at a quiet cafe downtown. He looked tired, the kind of exhaustion that comes from finally seeing the truth about someone you love. "Amanda's moving out," he said without preamble. "She's going to stay with her sister in Phoenix. Says she needs a fresh start." I stirred my coffee slowly, and the girls. "They're coming with me. We'll share custody. But—" He trailed off, then looked at me directly. "Did you know about the other things she'd taken?" I shook my head. I only knew about her trying to steal the dolls, but I'm not surprised there was more. He nodded, running a hand through his hair. "Patricia's missing jewelry, Susan's antique books, they all turned up in our house. Amanda says she was borrowing them, but sometimes people show us exactly who they are," I said quietly. "We just have to be willing to see it." "Your girls," he said, changing the subject, "they never got to meet their grandmother, did they?" "No, Mom passed before they were born. But these dolls, they're a piece of her. A way for them to connect with their heritage." The next day, Emma and Sophie's 8th birthday party was a small affair. Just family, Margaret, and a few close friends. The girls sat cross-legged on the floor as Margaret helped me unveil the display case containing their inheritance. "These dolls," I began, watching their eyes widen, "belong to your great-great-grandmother. She passed them to her daughter, who passed them to her daughter, and then to your grandmother, who gave them to me. And now, they're yours." "They're so pretty," Sophie whispered, reaching out to gently touch the glass. "Each one has a story," Margaret added, smiling at their wonder. "Your mother knows them all, just like your grandmother taught her." As I began telling them about the first doll, a Victorian beauty in blue silk, I caught sight of movement by the door. James stood there, watching silently. "Uncle James," Emma called out. "Come see our special dollies." He entered hesitantly but soon found himself drawn into the stories, asking questions about each doll's history and significance. It was a healing moment, bridging the rift that Amanda's actions had created. Later that evening, After the party had wound down and the girls were playing carefully with their precious inheritance under Margaret's watchful eye, James pulled me aside. "I'm sorry," he said simply, "for everything. For not seeing what Amanda was doing, for not standing up for you and the girls." I nodded, accepting his apology. "Just make sure Lily and Rose know they're always welcome here. They shouldn't suffer for their mother's choices." That night, as I tucked my daughters into bed, the antique dolls watching serenely from their new home in the girls' specially lit display case, Emma asked, "Mom, is Aunt Amanda ever coming back?" "I don't know, sweetheart, but what matters is that we have each other, and we have these precious memories of your grandmother. And we'll take good care of them," Sophie added sleepily, "so we can give them to our daughters someday." I kissed them goodnight, my heart full. My mother had always said that family legacy wasn't just about objects. It was about the values, the stories, and the love that got passed down with them. Looking at my daughters, I knew that legacy was safe in their hands. The dolls stood guard over their sleep, just as they had watched over generations of our family's daughters. And somewhere, I knew my mother was smiling, satisfied that justice had been served and her precious gifts had finally found their rightful home.